What's up, guys? We are back again to take a look at another of the NECA Toys quarter scale Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're doing them out of order, at least up until now, just because this is how I've gotten them. So we've got Donatello here. We're going to take a quick look at packaging because it's the same kind of thing as we saw with Raphael in my previous video. So I'm going to move this guy out of the way, and we'll take a look at this box real quick because it's kind of cool. I mean, if you like Ninja Turtle stuff, you know exactly what this is. So we've got our box here, big window. We've got the spot for the turtle in the middle. The accessories are right here off to the side. We've got the artwork from the original movie down here at the bottom. The side has the logo with some shots of the figure. The back has some more shots, and then we've got that NECA Toys logo in the bottom that has the old FHE home video kind of font to it, which is just awesome. I love when NECA does stuff like that. So obviously we're not going to crack him out because I've already pulled this guy out. I have no patience when I get one of these in the mail. So we're going to take a look at him and see what he's got. All right, so here is our Donnie figure out of the box. And if you saw my Raphael review previously, you know what to expect in the articulation department. The differences come with the sculpt in various ways, paint, accessories, things like that. So head can swivel, it can move up and down in a limited way. It's just based on how this guy is sculpted, how big he is, the kind of joints they use. Arms can go out about that far, and they can swivel all the way around. There's no bicep swivel, but they do have swivel at the elbow joint, which is also double hinged, but it is limited in what it can do. And that's mostly because of the fact that they've got the pads at the elbow. That's where they go, so that's what happens. The wrists can swivel, and then they are all hinged at the wrist. The various hands hinge in different ways depending on what they're meant to do. He does swivel at the torso, so that joint is hidden within the shell, so you don't actually see it, and it allows him to kind of lean forward and back and side to side a bit, which is pretty exceptional for a figure of this size and then for a turtle in general. Now, to help with stability, the legs are ratcheted, as you can hear. They go all the way out. They're very loud. So you could, in some cases, if you're lucky enough, you can get them to stand on one foot in a kicking pose. They do go forward and backward, but not a great deal. The knees only go back just a hair because of the fact that they've got the pads in the way. But they go forward a decent bit too. They do swivel at the thigh, and then the foot has a hinge and a rocker, and it can rotate. So, they aren't the most articulated figures in the world, but when you think about a figure of this size at this price point, you're getting quite a bit. So let's take a look at the sculpt on these guys, and I think, outside of the fact that they are a 16 to 17 inch tall Ninja Turtle, the heads are really where they shine, and that's really what does it for me. These things look like they jumped right out of the movie screen. I mean, they're perfect as far as I'm concerned. And like I said in the Raphael review, there is almost no chance that these figures aren't going to top my list for 2017. I know Donnie came out at the end of 2016, but I just now got him. So, take that for what it's worth. But these figures are stellar. They are amazing. So let's take a look at the sculpt. And Donatello's head is kind of his, defining factor here in this figure. And a lot of people kind of think he looks kind of funny because he's got what kind of looks like, a beak almost, but that's how he looked in the first movie. So it's not like they did something wrong. That's just how he looks. All the scales on this figure are wild. The bandana around his eyes is sculpted with a lot of wrinkles in there. Look, the eyes are deep inset, but they're forward facing. They're very cool, look great. The bandana wraps around into a cloth piece, so it transitions from plastic to soft goods, and I think they did a really good job of matching this to fit well. You can see like the inner workings of his shell back there. The shell on the back is clean, so that's a difference from Raphael, in that Raph has wounds all over his back from training with Leo and then from getting his ass kicked by the foot. His harness is not soft goods. It's some kind of plastic. I'm not really sure what they did, but it mimics kind of a pleather look and feel almost. You can see we've got the sculpted kind of what do you want to call it? The lacing on the harness. We've got rivets on there, And then on the front, you can see it's got some wear and tear on it a bit almost. But the way that the bow staff is done is interesting. So these are ribbons basically, and like them or not, that's how they chose to do them. So basically, they're just pre-made slip knots, so you can slide the bow in there and then tighten them. It's not the best, but I'm never going to have it on his back anyway, so I'm not too concerned about it. And I'll show more about that when we take a look at the bow itself. We've got the kind of leather-looking style for the pads on the elbows and the wrists and the knees. So he just looks the part. This guy looks like he jumped right out of the screen, and I can't get over the fact that they just do such a good job at this price point. So the only weird thing that I think is something worth noting, and I believe that they fixed this with Leo, or at least they made a change, is that the arms on Donnie and Raph are kind of weird. Like, this is not any kind of muscle. Like, it doesn't look like a tricep. So it's just an odd looking thing. They're turtles, so I can get over it, but it's just an oddity. As far as paint goes, he is different from Raph in that, the spots on all these turtles differ from, place to place, color to color. So they're just different. And that's fine. That gives them a little bit more character and brings them to life a bit better. There is green, brown, black shading all over these guys. The carapace on the shell is covered in a wash. Obviously, the back of the shell is painted and shaded really nicely. And then even down to the fingernails and the toenails are, gritty and dirty and just look like they've lived in a sewer their whole life. So I'm very, very pleased with how he turned out. I still think that Raph is my favorite of the two I've gotten so far, but that comes down mostly because I like Raph in the movie a lot more. So let's take a look at accessories and see what all he comes with before we compare him and Raphael. For accessories, we're going to start with obviously the most important one, the bow staff. So this guy is just about as tall as Donnie is. It goes up to his cheeks. It's got a lot of wood grain texturing in it. It's got the wraps on it, similar, to what you would expect on any other turtle figure. He can hold it in any of the hands that are gripping hands just fine. So you just slide it on in there, and he's pretty much never gonna let go. You can do two-handing poses with it just fine, and we're gonna take a look at how he holds it on his back. So spin him around, and you can loosen these just by tugging on the correct side, and then slip it through, and then just pull them tight. So if you want to display him like this, there's not a whole lot to it. You just slip it in and it's on his back. Now, I have found that when you move him around a bit, it's got a tendency to fall out eventually. But like I said, I'm never, ever going to not have it in his hand. He's either going to be, holding it in one hand or holding it in both hands. So this thing's always going to be on display. I can't have them not have their weapons. He comes with a series of hands. So some are similar to Raphael, some are not. So we've got a set of thumbs up hands. We have got some open style gripping hands, kind of used for holding a piece of pizza outward or holding it in general. And then he's got another style pose hand, just kind of like a ninjutsu type posing hand. So he's got 5 hands extra, and then he has the 2 that he comes with in the box for just the standard gripping hands. And I should note, like I said before, that the hands do have different hinges on them depending on what you're going to do with them. So some are up and down, and some are side to side. Now, next up, we've got the piece of pizza, and I believe this is the same slice that Raph comes with. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this particular piece because I don't eat olives, but it's a tasty looking slice nonetheless. And the last thing that he comes with is a mutagen canister. So this has been a topic of conversation for some folks as to why it's labeled in the way it's labeled. So we've got one side says radioactive material, and his is the broken one, by the way. I believe Leonardo comes with an unbroken one. And the other side says TCRI. So in the first movie, it didn't even say TCRI, it just said radioactive material. In the second movie, it said TGRI. And that's because the comic book was labeled TCRI. TCRI is where the Utroms come from. The movie has no connection to the Utroms, so they changed it to TGRI. Or at least that's how I understand it. But this thing's really cool. You can see it's pretty big. We'll look at it next to his head. It's what, maybe 3 inches long at least. Very cool. A lot of paint detail on there. The break in it is really nicely done. It's actually got some gouges in it. It's not just a like a tear in the plastic. It actually, you can stick something in there if you were so inclined to see what's actually in there. So I'm very pleased with the accessories. This guy, I don't really know how I'm going to display it yet. I may just have it sitting on the ground with them, but it's a cool thing to have, and I love what NECA has done in terms of giving us, you know, all this stuff. Like this guy's $100, you know, less depending on where you buy them, but you can get all of this kind of stuff with it to give you any kind of real, you know, diorama that you're looking for, or to have them just in many different kinds of settings, a fighting setting, just a lounging around setting, a pizza party setting, whatever you want to do. NECA is giving you all the tools to really go all out with these figures. So let's grab Raph and pull him in and see how these two stack up next to each other. All right, so here they are side by side. You can see they're they're the same height. They are essentially the same sculpt and same build, but they are in the same way different. So while they have many similarities, they do have many differences. Raph obviously has different weapons, a different belt, different colors, different head. The whole turtle aspect of them is the same, and that's okay. I mean, that's what do you expect? You're going to get that. But the spots are different, the shading is different. They just look unique enough to where you know that even though NECA kind of used the same overall build for these guys, that they still have a lot of character to distinguish them. That's just not necessarily the fact that they have different heads. And when I get the rest of these guys, we're going to have one hell of a display. I mean, just look at these guys side by side. How could you not be a fan of these? Unless you just plain don't like Ninja Turtles. And come on, who doesn't like turtles? You've got to enjoy these figures. They're amazing. And I can't say, really enough about how awesome of a job NECA has done for this price point at this scale for these figures. They're amazing. The accessories we get, all of the paint apps that are on these guys, just everything about them oozes quality. And I've said it before, I've had some problems with NECA stuff in the past, but I have not had any issues with these two figures, and they are among my favorite toys right now. So if you are even remotely a fan of TMNT, do yourself a favor and pick these guys up. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this review. Thanks again for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.